I'm Kiana Beckles. In case there's anyone who I'm just meeting for the first time, but um, I feel like I know a lot of these names, but maybe not. So I'm Kiana. This is Deborah, who has been working in education for a long time. So when we have educational stuff, she gives me all the history about where education has been and where it should go.
Hmm.
We have a lot of presentations coming up. I wanted to share that stuff. There's also like a bill coming up. I dropped all these things in the chat and I'll re-drop them again. And then I'll post them on LinkedIn and then I'll create events so that people can attend.
Okay.
But there's a ton of stuff coming up. We have a presentation coming up for Society for Police and Criminal Psychology Conference, which is in Texas. I believe that presentation is going to be on virtual reality in job testing or in examinations testing, which has been a passion, which is the reason I started the company. It's a long story, but it's been a passion for a long time. And it's exciting to now see that there's a lot more interest in VR and how VR can be used in job analysis and how VR can be used in testing. So super dope. We also will be presenting at IPAC conference with Kristen. Shout out to Kristen if you're looking at the recording at some point. I think Kristen is currently on a long drive to DC. But we're doing a panel where people can actually submit their questions in advance, and we'll actually have discussions about your questions to try to like troubleshoot or give you some advice during the panel. And so that'll be a really good session for folks, especially if you submit something in advance, because you'll have all the you'll have, 4 consultants, I think, on a panel. They're giving you advice about your specific issues. So I'll share the link for that as well. And we'll be able to share that in a follow-up. We can share all of these in a follow-up email also.
Great.
Yeah. And then there is 2023 ASAE annual conference, which is coming up in August. If anyone goes to that, it's generally association executives and anyone who serves association executives. I'm just gonna do a few get-togethers. So the exact date is gonna be TBD, but we'll have a couple of refreshments in a room and you can stop by and kick it if you will be in Atlanta for ASAE. PSYOP. I'll be doing a presentation at PSYOP Edge for the fairness block. And my presentation is going to be about like ways that you can mitigate adverse impact.
Where is PSYOP this year?
PSYOP. So annual PSYOP has already passed. Annual PSYOP is the academics, the school people with the glasses,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's the practitioner conference, right, which is like the cool kids. And we, we
Yeah,
and that
I would be the one with the glasses. Yeah.
that conference is October 5th through the 6th, and it'll be in Philadelphia
Hmm.
this year. Yeah, so you can take like New Jersey Transit for real for that one.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. I certainly do appreciate, and I think that they did do, I want to say, a quote unquote local conference this time, because conference attendance, a lot of associations are struggling with conference attendance. And, one of the things is that, in some cases, it's better to just go local. I think in the past, there was always sort of a draw to always be at some exotic location. Um, but, nowadays, sometimes people don't want to travel that far.
Mm-hmm.
People are accustomed to being, closer to their families. So maybe they don't want to, they don't want to be away for the whole week. Sometimes they just want to jump in for a day or two. So most IOs and most of us test practitioners, or many of us, are in the DC area. So I think that was one of the reasons why they were like, let's just go for something that's close by. Um, Okay, and then we will also be presenting at ICE, the Institute for Credentialing Excellence Conference. That is coming up in October also. It's October 24th through the 27th. I don't know where that is. Let me see if I can check real quick.
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs, there you go. Bam. But there's also some legislation on the floor that I wanted to share, and it's called the Freedom to Invest in Tomorrow's Workforce Act. Now, I haven't gotten a chance to read through this fully, and if anyone does, if anyone knows more about it, you're welcome to jump in. But my understanding is that this will spur the creation and support the development of credentials more so on the association side, so that associations can use federal funding to develop credentials, right? Which allows us, because we know that, first of all, we know that our associations are the keepers of knowledge, right? All of our subject matter experts are associations. And they can develop 1 year and 2 year programs that can be faster than those programs that are developed in academia, right? In order for a university to develop a program, sometimes it can take 4 to 8 years, right? Between development and accreditation and whatever the hoops and hurdles you've gone through. And if we've got something that's coming up really quickly, like green energy or, a wind farm, and we need to develop a certification for technicians that are going to be working on a wind farm, associations are more quickly able to do that. We were just chatting about all of the various upcoming presentations, as well as the upcoming legislation. And then now I'm going to pull up some slides and talk about job analysis. In terms of like a high level overview of job analysis, this might generally more so be for like association folks or like a director of certification or something like that who's not familiar with IOs and the test development process and that sort of thing. But if everyone could just talk a little bit about your experience with job analysis, that would help me out a little bit.
I've been working with certifications, building, maintaining, developing certification programs for almost 11 years now. So I've done a couple job analyses. It's interesting, the first place where I really cut my teeth doing it, the certifications were largely based on safety codes and standards. And some of those standards sort of did the job analysis for you because they included job performance requirements for things like a fire inspector and stuff like that. So yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of job analysis to do because it was sort of outlined by the standard upon which the certification was based. But then, I have conducted a couple, I then went to the software industry for a while, and that was kind of new. So, worked with those and, doing questionnaires. What does somebody in this role do? What kind of tools do they need? That sort of thing. And then I was actually, ICE has their, the CCP, the Certified Credentialing Professional Certification. I was one of the SMEs that was participating in the job analysis for that. So, being on the other end of the job analysis, it was really interesting to see how that was done. It was an incredibly detailed and thoroughly process for that one in particular, because they're making a credential for credentialing professionals, so they kind of want to get it right. So they really thoroughly.
Yeah, ICE is the only one that I know so far that has a credentialing for the credentialing professionals. If there's another one out there, please do shout it out.
No, I think that's the only one that I'm aware of.
Yeah. And so we appreciate them for developing that, because I think it's super helpful, especially for those who are in the field who do not necessarily either have a psychometric background or have a background in IO or something like that. And they're coming in to maintain or support or lead credentials for an association or for any organization or government entity. It's super helpful for them to have a credential where they can demonstrate their expertise. So so for some of you, this is going to be like old hat. And then for some of you, this is going to be like maybe a light bulb moment. But the job analysis is the thing that we conduct at the beginning of the credential to do an in-depth understanding of the competencies required for candidates in order to successfully complete tasks within the role.